So I want to welcome you to the second day of this great summit, and I would like to thank my people that work in the Ag Bio Division for helping set this up. We also would like to thank Dean Linton. All right, Norris and Dean Linton, notice the red tie today? Thank you. And we thank North Carolina State University for partnering with us. Once again, we'd like to thank our 30 sponsors and salute the lead sponsors: BASF, Bayer Crop Science, RTI, Keenan Institute, and HM Claus. I think we had a very good day yesterday. We had exceptional speakers, we had great panels, and there was some spirited debate, which was quite interesting. I think GMOs probably could have taken a whole day itself, but they did a great job on this. We saw that there are some truly amazing things that we can grow. There are some questions that technology raises for consumers. We definitely have challenges for our future. Such things as 9 billion people inhabiting this earth, and how do we feed them? Increased demand for proteins, animal feed consumption. 2/3 of the North Carolina corn crop is taken in that. And then how do we double crop production in the coming years? Today we will continue our dialogue. In the spirit of partnership, we will face these challenges. I would now like to welcome Steve Troxler, Commissioner of Agriculture for the state of North Carolina. Commissioner Troxler is from Brown Summit, North Carolina. Don't know where that is, Commissioner. And he has roots in ag biotech. He spent his entire life in agriculture, including starting his own family-owned company and business, Troxler Farms. He was elected commissioner in 2004, 2008, and 2012. Congratulations, sir. In his tenure, he is focused on developing new markets for North Carolina products, and I think most importantly, preserving working farms in North Carolina and protecting the state's food industry. He's a member of the Biotech Board. Commissioner?
Mike, thank you so much for that introduction, and I want to welcome all of you here to the summit today. And anytime that there's a discussion about food, I want to be involved in it. And there are a couple reasons. We all know how important the food supply is, but I also enjoy the agricultural products that we have in North Carolina. In fact, if you can see, I toed it pretty well. But I tell people it would be silly to have a skinny commissioner of agriculture trying to tell people how good agricultural products are. So I'm very proud of the products that we have in North Carolina. My thanks to Dean Linton. We're about partnerships in North Carolina, and I couldn't be any prouder of the partnership that we have between NC State University, the Department of Agriculture, the Biotech Center. All of this, when you fit all of these partnerships together with the farm groups, the commodity groups, it forms a very tightly wound agricultural network that we're proud of in North Carolina. And I think that's the reason we've been so successful. We rank very highly in the nation in the production of many items from poultry, pork, Christmas trees, sweet potatoes, tobacco, cotton, strawberries, blueberries. You know, we pretty much can grow it here in North Carolina, in the fourth most diverse agricultural state in the nation. You know, I've been following what's been said at the summit yesterday, and I see what the focus today is, and Dr. Reich has informed me of some of the things that you've heard about. The production of food is going to be a daunting task in the future to meet worldwide needs. There's no question about that. Is it a task that we can meet? Absolutely. If we continue to do a few things that need to be done. First, we have got to have good agricultural policy in this country and in this state to allow our agricultural people to be able not only to just survive, but to thrive and to meet the needs. When you start talking about 50, 70, 80%, 100% increase in food production. There are a lot of things that have got to happen in the right way, and the policy is going to be one of them. But I want you to think about something. You know, it hadn't been long ago, say 100 years ago, the Extension Service in North Carolina celebrating its 100th anniversary. Think back 100 years ago to what agriculture was then. You know, we were just beginning to get into, you know, what was good technology then with tractors and plows and different types of production. But we were pretty much subsistence farmers. We lived on a farm, looked after the family, maybe had a little extra income. And in North Carolina, it was from tobacco, and we educated our kids. But we've gone from subsistence farmers to one farmer feeding 155 people. That's pretty amazing when you think what had to happen to get there. But then think about that 155 and start thinking about, you know, what that's got to be in the future. So how are we going to get there? We're going to get there the same way that we got to where we are today. It's going to be through research and technology. That's the only way that it's going to happen. If you think about the weather for a farmer is always a constant. It's always too wet, it's too dry, it's too cold, and it's too hot. That's what we deal with. But biotechnology in particular has been able to take some of those bumps out of that constant to give us a better opportunity for better yields. And I think that point was driven home to me, particularly in 2012 when I was in the Midwest during the massive drought that we had. Now, here in North Carolina, we did something that I hadn't seen in a long, long time. We actually had great yields and record prices that year, so we did very well. But the Midwest suffered pretty badly from the drought. And if you had seen the weather conditions and had seen the reports on television about how bad it was, you know, I went out there expecting to see 10 bushel corn, 20 bushel corn. But that wasn't the case. There was actually, you know, 80 bushel corn and 100 bushel corn. With production costs like they are, that is the same financial disaster that 10 years previous or 15 years previous that 10 bushels would have produced. But the yield, there was some yields there in very, very bad weather conditions. So, you know, that just showed me how far we had come in that period of time. But it also says how far we've got to go to be able to feed the 9 billion people that we've got to feed. As I've traveled pretty extensively around the world and to areas that are not as fortunate as we are in the United States, there's one thing that I have learned. And if you don't hear anything else I say today, hear this. Hungry people are mean people. Think about it. You know, I've been saying this in my Southern vernacular for several years now. And then the United Nations came out with a more elegant statement that said, you know, if we don't meet these worldwide food demands, there are going to be bad things that happen that we as a, you know, society don't like. They said there'll be more terrorism, more unrest, more bad political things that happen. But all the things that we as society see as a staple could be turned upside down if we don't meet these worldwide food demands. So, you know, that I keep that in my mind. And after they said it that eloquently, my wife pointed something out to me one morning. She said, you know, you've been saying this, but this has been said for centuries. She said, it's in the Bible. She said, if you look at Isaiah 8, there is a passage in there that talks about this. So this is nothing new, but it is a task that is probably more daunting than it's been in the past. So if we continue to do the research, we develop the technologies, we have a good climate, political climate to function in, we'll meet these worldwide food demands, and hopefully we won't have the hungry people and the mean people to deal with. So I hope that's a focus that you take with you is, you know, we've got a business. This is a business that we're in, agriculture and agribusiness. And we're in it to make a living and to prosper. But there's also the moral side of it about the worldwide hunger that could exist. So I hope we all come together to solve the problems for the future, and we're successful at doing that. Once again, thank you for being here. For those of you that are not from North Carolina, in the absence of the governor, I officially welcome you to North Carolina. This is not typical North Carolina weather for this time of year. If you can believe it, in all of my wisdom, I decided that I wanted to update the heating in my house and going to put in the newest technology at a time when we're having record low temperatures. My wife is not really happy with me right now. So if you can do something about the weather during this conference, I would appreciate that also. Thank you so much for being here.